Neuroplasticity is creating new neural connections in your brain. I like to call these new connections baby neurons. That they're like little baby neurons in your brain that are ready for you to train them how to think. They're ready for you to hold on to information so that you can do amazing things in life. I'm a lifelong learner, and so I love learning. And when I started to lose estradiol, losing acetylcholine and BDNF, and I couldn't hold on to information as well, that bummed me out. So I had to go find new ways to create these new neuronal connections to regrow my baby neurons so that they could start to grab onto new information. Here's what I found, and there's a ton of research that I'm, again, putting out in the book, but here are some of the things that I found. We're back at exercise. HIIT training, high intensity, will increase BDNF, which is brain fertilizer for the brain. So now you're increasing your ability to hold on to new information, and you're increasing serotonin from one 15, 20-minute HIIT training workout, high intensity workout, which is amazing, right? So weightlifting, when you break down muscle, what you're doing is you create a metabolite that goes up into the brain and it stimulates BDNF. So we've talked a lot. Hopefully, if you've been following me or you've in any capacity, I talk about this a lot, is the importance of building muscle. So when we build muscle, remember, weightlifting, what you do is you break muscle down and the intelligence of the body goes in and builds it back up stronger, which is amazing. It's in that breakdown that a metabolite gets formed that also makes your brain stronger and lets you hold on to information. A really great way to absorb information is to listen to a podcast like this while you're working out. If you want to hold on to this information, if this is like, you're trying to take notes, go back and listen to this again while you're walking or while you're working out, especially if you're doing a high intensity or a weight training, because you're going to get all that BDNF so that you can hold on to the information more. So high intensity training, learning something new. So the science that I'm found has been on learning a new language, and that language, what happens, think about this from your brain's survival perspective, that when you start to force your brain to learn a new skill, the brain is so smart that what it will do is create new neuronal pathways so that it can take that information in and hold on to that skill, which is why whenever we learn something new, it feels very awkward because there's not a neural network to hold on to it. So that makes sense. So we have to, as we go through menopause and perimenopause and into those postmenopausal years, we have to put ourselves in new environments where we're forced to learn new skills. We also benefit from learning something new, like a new language. I can tell you at 53, I have a goal. Next year, I am learning Spanish. And I've already got it set up. The tutor, the place, I know what I'm doing when the new year hits. That is on my top priority. A, it's time to learn Spanish. I live in California and it's time to learn another language. I can't believe I've gone 53 years without that. But B, I'm doing it to increase neuroplasticity in my brain. So I also noticed when I was traveling, especially in another country, how, you're trying to figure everything out, from the currency is different, to the language is different, to you walk into the hotel rooms, things are different, the way the ordering off menus is different. All of that is so good for creating new neuronal networks. The worst thing you can do as you go through menopause is keep doing the same thing, being in the same environment, hanging out with the same people, talking about the same things, listening to the same news channels. Stop it. You need to experience new environments. You need to get around new people. You need to learn new skills. It forces that neuroplasticity. And if you don't, now we're looking at dementia and Alzheimer's. You have to go make neuroplastic changes in your brain. I can't emphasize that enough. We also know that there's two other ways to increase neuroplasticity. Sleep is one. So when you go to sleep at night, what happens is something called neuronal pruning, where neurons that no longer serve you are pruned away and new neural networks are coming together to help you integrate what you learned that day. If you haven't listened to my episode that I did with Dr. John Lawrence, we talk about the blue spot. And the blue spot is this part of the brain that he discovered that gathers all the information from the day. And when we we go to sleep at night, it transfers that information to the hippocampus, which is the middle part of the brain that stores long-term memory and access. It's like a library. It'll access memories from the past. So in order to make room in the hippocampus, when we sleep, the hippocampus has to prune back some of the memories that you may not be accessing, may no longer be useful for you, neurons that aren't keeping information traveling across them. But then it also allows for the information from the blue spot to come in and store what it learned that day into the hippocampus for long-term memory. So if you think about what an amazing day to improve learning and to improve neuroplasticity and brain power for a woman over 40, it would look like a good night's sleep. You wake up in the morning, you do a HIIT training in the morning in a fasted state, maybe you even lift some weights, and then you work on learning new pieces of information throughout that day. And then at night, you get a good night's sleep so that information could be downloaded into long-term memory. It's that simple. But we have to be intentional about it if we're losing our memory.